Confusion is one of those silent struggles that many young people carry. We smile, we go to school, we work jobs, we make friends, but deep down we keep asking ourselves, what am I really doing with my life? Today's episode is called Why Most People Feel Confused and What to Do About It. In this episode, we'll diagnose some of the most common causes of confusion, pressure, comparison, and lack of guidance. And I'll walk you through practical ways to overcome them. And as we go along, I'll ask you reflection questions which will help you apply what we're talking about directly to your own life. As you know, you need a journal for this. And if you don't have your journal, your notepad will do. So, let's get into it. First, we need to normalize it. Feeling confused is part of being a human. It's not a sign of weakness, neither is it a sign of laziness. It is a sign that you are in transition or that life is demanding that you make a shift. But here's the danger. Confusion, when it's left unchecked, turns into paralysis. It keeps you stuck watching life move while you're frozen. So let's break this down. Why do so many people feel confused? One basic reason for confusion is pressure. Pressure is one of the biggest sources of confusion. And this pressure ranges from family pressure, societal expectations, peer pressure. These pressures push us into boxes that may not even be ours. My family wants me to live a certain way of life, pursue a particular career course, but that is not what I want. And then I go ahead to do it. I end up living a life that my family wants and not the kind of life that I would love to. Society demands that I act in a certain way. Society demands that I pursue a certain course. Society demands that if you don't do this, you are not successful, so they say to them. And then I go ahead to do what society wants and not what I really love to do. And then at the end of the day, I live a life for the society and not one of myself. My friends always want me to be a singer, but I love being an artist. I love drawing. And then I go ahead to sing because they say, oh, you have a nice voice, be a singer. At the end of the day, I end up living a life for my friends or my peers and not the life that I truly deserve or desire. When you're pressured into making quick choices, you don't choose based on clarity. You choose based on fear of disappointing others. And as a result, you will constantly end up living lives that are not yours, but lives that other people dream of. For the first reflection question, I want you to ask yourself this. Am I making this decision because I want it or because someone expects it from me? So if you're in a certain age of your life or season of your life where you have lots of people making decisions for you or telling you what to do, ask yourself this question. Am I making this decision because I want it or because someone else expects it from me? The second reason why confusion is rampant with young people is because of comparison. In the age of social media, it's almost impossible not to compare yourself. We scroll through Instagram, we scroll through TikTok, YouTube. You see people of our ages doing things we only dream of. But the truth is, comparison will always blur vision. It doesn't just make you want what others have, it makes you doubt what you already carry. Clarity can never grow in a soil of comparison. You'll always feel behind, you'll always feel unworthy, you'll always feel lost. You have the desire to write, but someone is talking about video editing, and the person tells you how he makes hundreds of thousands doing video editing, and then you leave your desire to write and shift to video editing. A month later, you become slightly good in video editing, and then someone else says, oh, Bitcoin is the new way to go. And then you leave what you're doing and then focus on Bitcoin. And fast forward that you learn Bitcoin and in 6 months time, someone says content creation is the way. and then you decide to be a full-time creator. And after some time, someone tells you you have to learn coding and cybersecurity. And then you drop what you've done and you're doing that. Why? Because you constantly conform to others. You constantly compare yourself with what others are doing because you want to get to where they are or you want to live that life they're living. Comparison blurs vision. At this point, I would like you to take this reflection question. Ask yourself, am I inspired by this person or am I secretly competing with them? The question again, am I inspired by this person or am I secretly competing with them? So when you feel the pressure to compare yourself with someone, do well to ask yourself that question. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, do well to hit the subscribe button, like and share this episode with another young person whom you know this will be useful for. Another reason, or the third reason why most of us young people are confused, is lack of guidance. Many young people simply don't have mentors. We don't have role models or even honest conversations at home to help us navigate life. Without guidance, you end up trying to find out everything on your own. And while independence might be good, isolation can magnify your confusion. You don't need someone to live your life for you, but you would need voices of wisdom who can help you see what you can't see. On recent, I made a post that I uploaded on Instagram, and the post is talking about village voices or village that helps us grow. And to be sincere with ourselves, before any successful person or behind any successful individual you see there are voices, there are villages behind that person. That village might not be every person. The village might not be 10 persons. The village might be just one person who whispers positive words to that person. It might just be one person who helps that person clarify his decisions. It might just be one person who helps that person, who gives that person the push that he needs to go forward. It might be one person who decides to wholly support that person until the person reaches the successful destination that he wants. So do not be scared of having someone to seek guidance for. It might be a mentor, it might be a friend, it might be a parent. Most times, most of us underestimate the power our parents have. We underestimate the wisdom that they carry. Most times, we feel they are old aged and they can't do a lot, but forgetting that they've been on earth years before we came into existence. And in as much as they might have made mistakes in the past, most of our parents have also learned from it. And they are hoping that we don't make the same mistake that they made. You'll be so surprised if your parents will give you that advice that takes you to the next level. So please do not neglect guidance. Seek it. Reflection question under this point is, who are the wise voices I can learn from right now? And am I actually listening to them? Who are the wise voices that I can learn from right now? And am I listening to those voices? Answer this question, and from there you might know what next to do. What are the solutions that you would take if you're actually feeling confused? So now that we've diagnosed the problem, we're going to talk about solutions. How to move from confusion to clarity. To do that, the first solution is that you create a space to pause. Clarity does not show up in noise. Sometimes you need to unplug from distractions and just be still. Sometimes you have to journal. Sometimes it might be meditation. It might be prayer. It might be reflection. Just give yourself the permission to breathe. Ask yourself, when was the last time I was truly still with my own thoughts? When was the last time I sat with myself in solitude and listened to my thoughts? Doing that will help you learn from silence, learn from your inner voice. Number two, define what you truly value. The truth is that confusion grows when you don't know your values. Once you define what your values or what matters most to you, it might be family, it might be freedom, it might be creativity, it might be your faith, it might be service. if you can actually clearly define it, what matters most to you, then you will notice that your decisions will become clearer. And a practical step to get this done is to write down top 3 values that align with you. And next time you face any choice to make, ask if these choices that you want to make align with that value. I've done this before, and I did this with the help of a coach in my life, and this has helped me a lot. So I know it's going to help every young person who is feeling confused right now. I've been in a position of confusion for years of my life. And earlier this year, I found clarity because I sought help from someone. I was able to speak out to someone that I was indeed confused of my life. And if I had sought this help earlier, who knows? I might have been better today, or way better than I am now. So I would recommend that you take a pen down and jot down 3 values that aligns with you. And when you have a choice to make, ask yourself before you make that choice, does this align with my values? Solution 3 is to take one small step at a time. Confusion feels heavy because we think we need the whole map, but you only need the next right step to take. Start small. Your actions will clear the fog over time. The practical step to do this is to choose one thing this week that excites you and commit fully to it. One thing, what is one thing that excites you this week? And then commit to growing it this week. The first solution is that you seek mentorship and community. Please, I beg of you, don't underestimate the power of community. Don't underestimate the power of community. You cannot fight confusion alone. You have to find someone or a group of persons who has been there or who has been where you want to go and learn from them. Community will give you perspectives that isolation will obviously steal from you. To do this, you can reach out to one person whom you respect this week. Ask them one simple question. You might start with a question like, what do you wish you knew at my age of life? This gives you clarity. And most of them will give you clear answers because they've been at that point where you were. So, what are pitfalls to avoid when you're seeking clarity out of confusion? Before we wrap this up, we're going to talk about these pitfalls. And when we're talking about these pitfalls, we're talking about traps that keep confusion alive even when you're trying to silence it. The first of them on the list is overthinking. When you overthink every decision, clarity will not come. Note that clarity comes from doing and not overanalyzing. You have a desire to do something. Act. Don't overanalyze. Once you start overanalyzing, then you start having problems. So I read a book earlier this year that talked about our thoughts being the engineering of our problems and how our thoughts can also be the engineers of our success. And that book encourages that you think, and that book analyzes overthinking seriously. That book helped me understand that when a thought comes into your mind, the first thing you do is to pen it down and don't overanalyze things. The moment you start overanalyzing, then you start worrying. Your thoughts start giving you risk measures. Your thoughts start giving you reasons why that thing would not work. So please, it's important that you don't overanalyze every decision that you want to make. The second pitfall is waiting for perfect timing. There is no perfect timing. So please just start now. You have that decision to do something, start. You have decision to write a book, start. To create a video, start. Start content creation, please start. Stop over analyzing. It doesn't help anyone. And stop waiting for a perfect time because the only perfect time you'd get is now. Please, there is nowhere perfection will take you. There is nothing like perfection. There is nothing like perfection. Stop being scared of mistakes. This is a third pitfall that makes people still remain in confusion. Mistakes are not the enemy of clarity. They are part of it. Before you learned how to write 1 to 10, You made several mistakes. That is why you have an eraser at the back of a pencil. If there were nothing like mistakes, erasers would not exist. We would not have to go to schools to learn the right thing. So please, for us to find clarity, mistakes would happen. And they are not the enemy, they are actually putting you on the journey to finding your clarity. Ask yourself, am I waiting for the perfect moment before I start? Or am I willing to learn as I go? To recap this episode, remember that confusion is common, but the main causes of confusion are pressure, comparison, and lack of guidance. The solutions to these are: pause to reflect, define your values, take one small step, and seek mentorship. And to avoid the pitfalls of overthinking, waiting for the perfect moment, and fearing mistakes. If you're feeling confused right now, know that confusion does not mean you're broken. It means that you're in season where clarity is waiting for you to discover it. Take it one step at a time and remember that growth is always possible. Thank you so much for joining this episode of the Growth Table podcast. If this helped you, share it with one friend of yours who may be feeling lost or feeling confused. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on our next conversation. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your day. And this is goodbye from me.